You're listening to Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt.
I'm Joey.
I'm Wes.
I'm Brian. Welcome to episode 56 of Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm pretty good.
I told you earlier, you both look very handsome this evening.
I know.
I don't know what it is.
My GTD shirt I wore at work.
Is that what it is? Well, Wes is not wearing it. He's wearing like a kind of like a ratty sweatshirt, but it works for him.
He's
For
in
me,
his PJs.
it's my boyish charm.
It looks good.
It's what gets everybody.
So this is the podcast where we talk about gravel cycling, both racing and just riding along.
Now we're racing?
Well, we talk about races and events and
we
stuff.
talk about racing.
We talk about other people racing.
Wow, you go way fast.
As well as we talk about some bike packing and adventuring through the world by bicycle. That's what I do. So joining us a little bit later in today's podcast is Hunter Allen. Hunter is the co-author of Training and Racing with a Power Meter and Cutting Edge Cycling. He is also the co-developer of TrainingPeaks software and the founder of Peaks Coaching Group. He's going to talk about some stuff they're doing in the world of gravel.
Sounds
So
like a movie star.
That's what we got coming up a little bit later. What are you guys drinking tonight?
I have, it's Brackish Oyster Stout.
I tried that. It's very good.
It's better than mine.
Yeah.
Fonta Flora Brewery. I got it when I was in North Kakalaki.
Oh, so that's a North Carolina beer?
It's from Nebo, North Carolina.
Nice.
It was one of those like pint-size 4-packs.
It's a tall can. It's a tall boy.
Yeah. The artwork, I love the artwork on it.
I can't even tell what it is.
They're oysters.
Oh, now I see it because it
It's
is an
cool.
oyster stout.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's brackish. Oh, that makes a whole lot of sense.
I love oyster stouts.
Yeah, I
They're,
do too. A little
I think
salt.
I think people are afraid to try them. I don't know.
I don't know why they would be. If you love
Because a
oysters.
few people like Dad when I was down, he's like, he wasn't. I think he thought it would taste like oyster water. I don't know.
Oyster water is good, I think.
I don't know.
I think all things oyster are good.
Hey,
so.
Tonight's oyster night at Lighthouse, just like
I know.
Podcast over.
Well,
Yeah.
if we go to Mondays soon,
Yeah. I had the prime rib at Lighthouse last night. $16 prime rib.
we're going next week.
The oysters almost called me out this evening too. So, what are you drinking, Wes?
I've got some Memphis-made brewing company Catnay.
Catnay.
Yeah.
Nice. I think we have officially rebranded that beer as Catnay.
Yeah, they need to fix their pee.
I
Get
wonder
rid of the tail on the pee. What the hell are they
They've
doing?
got a pee problem. They need to fix it.
What about you,
go.
Brian?
I'm drinking tea, drinking iced tea. Well,
Just training for Croatan.
I swam today and I rode the trainer today, so I don't want to undo all of that good doing.
I wish you would run for like 10 feet, and then you could do a triathlon.
No, I won't even run to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I think we'd have to kick him off his own podcast if he did triathlon.
Yeah, I did do. You guys know I did that one year.
Yeah, I remember.
It was a bad time in life. It was a very dark window that I still apologize to people for. So no, I don't want to ever do a triathlon again. I'm done. Max!
Damn, what was that? Holy shit. There's a cat in the house.
Max just pulled all the cables.
So if
You
you
okay,
can't...
Let's do a level check again. I'm good.
I'm Joey.
And I'm Joey.
Yeah, we're all set. So,
All right.
what else have you guys been up to? What's going on in Joey's world?
Joey's world, riding my bike a little bit, hurting a little bit, school a little bit. That's a little bit about a little bit.
Same old. Well, it's January, February.
Yeah.
That's the window.
It's a good January.
Yeah, you get into like a lull though of January.
Yeah.
February.
We had an awesome customer appreciation night the other night.
Mhm. Talk about that.
So that was it. We had a customer appreciation night. Like,
What more do you want?
He is a story.
we put it together.
teller.
I surprised everyone by not announcing that Larry was coming.
Yep.
I think us three knew about it, and that was about it. Besides
Really, that
Larry.
was it. I told
Yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah. And everyone was surprised to see Larry. I thought it'd be cool if he surprised them all.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then Larry picked up that was a classy looking Diverge.
Yes, it
It
was.
did look good.
So Larry is,
You use the word classy, but I think that bike has a real classic look to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like stealthed out with some Gumwall Pathfinders. It just looked sharp.
Mhm.
I'll put
Yep.
it on our, it's probably going to be tomorrow's Instagram post anyway for the store.
Okay.
I like when Specialized, like they actually put a bike out that doesn't have Specialized Giant all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of subtle.
Yeah. Their bike frames look
Yeah.
really good. I think most bikes look really good when they don't have the Giant logo on the outside of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So no, we had a nice get together. Had a lot
It
of
was
beer.
fun.
Some we didn't even make all the food. We went through a lot of pizza.
Yeah.
How many did you order? Like 10?
Well, we ordered 4 to start with, and we had to go back out for 3 more.
Yeah.
I had a chocolate Bach. I did drink that.
That was good.
The Sam Adams chocolate Bach,
Yeah.
and that was delicious. I was drinking a Tootsie Roll.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And you guys did the power meter thing. Who eventually won that? You had to do 10 seconds on a smart trainer.
We were the top people.
Really?
Somehow.
Wes won.
Wes
Yeah.
won.
So
Nice.
for somebody who doesn't ride his bike that often, Wes won.
The people that can like do 500 or 600 watts more than him, like, did.
Yeah.
They couldn't manage. They
Well, it
couldn't
was
hang.
hard.
We set up a mountain bike with slippery plastic pedals because of the dropper seat post.
Yeah.
Technique.
It worked, and the fork, you
I
geared
saw-
out. It
I
worked.
saw you get your shoelace all gummed up.
Yeah.
In there.
It almost ate
funny.
me.
That was funny. That was a great night.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed that. And the winners were announced for the 12 rides.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had a nice.
Yeah. Epic. Yeah.
Jim surprised us with some nice bourbon,
Yeah.
Yes, I had a little bit of that.
and then we all went to Ruddy, and Ruddy Duck was really tame.
Yeah. It was quiet.
I was tired.
Wes was tired. Otherwise, I think he was going to go ham.
Yeah.
We had like one beer and came home and in bed before 10 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
you drove me home.
Yeah. We had a ride the next day,
Yeah.
and that was something we did.
We keep saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's not the way Richard says it, I'm like in the habit of saying it now.
Wes, what did
Sleepy
you-
Pants slept in. I had nice coffee with Larry that morning, and we went and rode.
This
What?
is the way.
Wes, how
This
are
is
you?
the way.
How are you enjoying life here at Joey and Jess's?
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I wake up. Sometimes Joey's making waffles. Sometimes he's not. He usually has coffee going. If not, then he's like, hey, you want coffee? I was like, I have a cup. And then before I could do anything about it, Joey's making it.
Except for today.
Yeah, except for today. He was lazy this morning.
And then he drives you to work.
Then he made waffles, and he wasn't
And
lazy.
he drives you to work.
Yeah, I
Hey.
made you waffles.
Yeah, drives me to work. It's been good.
The
The only problem is if I get changed in my bedroom, everybody on the other side of the little green space definitely sees everything I got.
Wow.
I didn't put
Okay.
curtains in
There's
there.
no curtains.
No
or,
curtains.
Yeah, or
Okay.
blinds.
Do you know where everything is? Because you don't have to turn a light on.
No, I just
Okay.
I put it on.
Okay.
I want to see the perverts in the neighborhood and know who my targets are.
So we did a fun ride on Sunday. I guess that was kind of an impromptu GTD ride, would you say?
Well, I think we want. Yeah.
What's
it
wrong with
happened.
your dog tonight? He's normally...
Well, you have all your stuff all over.
Well, he sits
Yeah.
over here nice and quiet.
Brian, now that I live here, this is atrocious.
Well, Jess is downstairs, so he's back and forth.
Oh, okay. Okay. yeah,
Our
we-
impromptu GTD ride.
Yeah.
Which went from 3 of us
from,
to
went
3,700.
from 3 of us doing a metric to 3 of us doing what? No, there was like
35.
15 people.
Yeah.
It was like a lot of people.
It was more than I expected.
Me too. Well, the weather was nice.
Yeah.
The weather was really nice. We did 35 down in St. Mary's County. Kind of flat.
I cut out like 10 miles for Homeboy over here, which I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
Because I was afraid he wasn't going to make it.
And then the 3 of us rode again on Monday for Mo Monday.
Yeah, so that one hurt for some reason.
Wonder why.
I need to learn how to exercise my foam rolling techniques.
Hey, do you guys stretch?
That's
I
my
do.
problem.
I
I
stretch
started
in the-
trying to stretch my groin on that rock.
Smashed his
So-
nuts on a rock.
Somehow that turned into like one of those bad idea rides on Monday for me.
I stretch in the shower.
Do you?
Yeah, like
What?
when I get home from a ride and I'm showering. Yeah.
I've never
I didn't
really
know you
been
showered after rides.
I've never really been a big stretcher. I don't stretch before rides or after. I don't really do much of anything. It's just
I used to
kinda
foam
go by
roll a
ride.
lot, and I need to get back into it so it flushes everything out.
Yeah, probably would help get that lactic acid build up,
Because
flushed out of your.
like I'll feel
System.
super on Sunday, and then coming to Monday for some reason everything just hurts, and it's not like we didn't even go hard on Sunday. And it was short.
No, Monday was really kind of tame too.
Brian was bored.
Yeah,
I wasn't bored.
You
I
had
like riding with
fun.
you guys.
Yeah.
like
I
riding
am
with you
using
guys.
different muscles because of the fitting on that crux, I think, and I think that's what it is.
Okay.
I've offered to fit him.
Yeah.
I did take off though when you said, "Hey, Brian, we're gonna cut it short."
I wanted to be the one that took the fall on the sword for Joey.
Well, then I was gonna like just
Yeah, then you
Shoot
took
away.
off. Then you were gone.
yeah, and
You
I
go.
got in a few miles and
Couple.
picked up the pace a little bit, so it felt good. Hey, have you guys been following along with this whole UCI and USAC thing where they're wanting to get into gravel? I mean, in the last week, how could you?
Sure,
not
they want to
see
get
it?
in the gravel. There's money to be made.
Yeah.
We have no PayPal or Patreon supporters. You
Um,
skipped all that.
Well, yeah, that's because we don't have any.
That's why there's
And
a cross
I
out.
crossed it off so that we could just flow and keep moving.
So
All right,
we're
so-
establishing now if a word is crossed through, it doesn't exist.
Oh man, I messed that one up.
Thanks, Joey.
UCI. Oh man, that article I read, and there's another one that came out. I read. It's pretty good.
Green jacket, gold jacket.
It's That's Happy Gilmore. No, it's like the big thing right now, and I think that's it's going to kick off the year with, hey, what's going to happen?
Controversy.
Yeah,
Controversy.
I think we all need to stand up and fight.
Well, it
but
was
then the
interesting.
ride organizers also have to let them into their ride too.
Right,
Yeah.
unless they form their own. Because this is what now I was doing my homework, and Lachlan Morton, that was rides with EF.
That guy's a badass.
And they did that whole Dirty Kansas and what was it? The Great Britain, GB Duro.
Yeah. He had Leadville and all too.
Yeah, so it was interesting. I was curious what he had to say, and he was asked about it while he's racing down under. And these are quotes. He said, "I guess it's almost not for me to say. That's not because I don't want to comment on it, but that I don't think gravel racing belongs to us," meaning the world of UCI.
Yeah.
I think as far as the racing element goes, it's kind of more of a grassroots movement, talking about the current state of gravel. And I think anyone who's in that scene would tell you that they already have a world championships in the Dirty Kansas. So I think that was pretty plain.
Yeah.
It was pretty plain. So I'm thinking, is it more a sign of the diminishing relevance of UCI in the way that they're viewed with regards to how they just screw up everything they touch, it seems?
Yes.
And now they're just trying to glom on to something that's successful.
Do they know that there's disc brakes in gravel riding?
That was so 2016, Wes.
Yeah. So he actually then went on to say, I'm sure UCI is aware that they have to adapt, but the reality is that gravel riding is just bike riding. You don't need a gravel bike. You don't need a disc brakes. You don't need to ride your bike on a dirt. You just go ride your bike on a dirt road and you call it whatever you want. And I think the reason events like Dirty Kansas are so successful is that they're mass participation events. Anyone can come and line up, and you get to the end of the race and you shoot the shit with a person who finished 6 hours behind you because you've had a shared experience. I find it hard to imagine a UCI event where they're going to let anyone line up. It's true.
It's good perspective. Yeah.
I don't think UCI is going to let GTD do the lead out.
No, exactly.
No, they would kill a lot of the homegrown aspects to it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think your point is right in that the promoters and the directors and the people that are doing the races would have to welcome them in, and I just don't see that happening.
I mean, I guess if UCI wanted to put on their own gravel race, that's fine. That'll pull in a whole nother world of people.
But will anybody pay attention to it? It'd just be road people that want to jump over because. And honestly, if you're racing road and under that umbrella of UCI right now, do you think you're going to want to go, ooh, let me get involved with them somewhere else too? I can't imagine that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
I think they're probably, and that's why I think part of the reason you've seen the professionals coming from the road circuit over to the world of gravel is because they want to get away from all of that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Actually, that EF video on Dirty Kansas, they had good perspective on that. They're like, we don't want to take your sport. We just want a ride where we can go ride, kind of like what he said, with somebody that's going to finish 6 hours behind me. As a shared experience. They don't get to do that anymore. Yeah. So
I have our viral $1 million idea.
Okay. Do you want to share it
we
here?
Will print everyone the GTD gravel race license that you as a joke to the UCI race or the USAC race license.
We'll sell it. We'll sell it.
No, for free.
Oh, for free. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be a little thing. We'll laminate it.
Everybody
that'd be awesome.
Get your GTD license.
Yeah, your license to grind.
That's actually clever.
And then we'll have a little business card, and then I'll just scribble your name on there and laminate it and drop it in an envelope with a sticker.
It'd be a great sticker. It would actually be a great sticker all of itself. Yeah.
And it'll just be a middle finger.
Exactly. So I don't know. That jumped out at me this last week because everywhere you turned in any of the social spaces, that was kind of like always lurking somewhere.
Well, what we should do is get a promoter of an event's opinion that's not afraid to speak out about it.
I don't know that I'd want to put anybody on the spot with that.
No, we could do
If
that.
you're listening to this and
know,
want to
like the voice
volunteer,
listen, you talk like this, yeah.
Yeah.
if you're listening and you're a race promoter
Dave
and want to
Fryer.
volunteer to pipe in about this,
Yeah, I don't. I mean, if somebody wants to come forward and openly talk about it,
Well, we won't put anybody gun to anyone's head.
I'm not going to call anybody out on that and say, hey,
I think if UCI though enters the gravel world, I don't think it'll kill the sport.
no.
I think the UCI will just die here as well. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think it's really a non-starter? They're just trying to glom on, make some money,
yeah.
and they'll fall flat on their
Yeah.
face.
Yeah. I think the events that are currently going will probably continue to go their current course.
I just
Yeah.
don't see how the gravel crowd wants all of that regulatory BS.
I don't think that they do, and
That's
I
what
think
I'm saying.
I think that if you ride the event and you get first place, and that's what you want every year, then you're going to go back and race it. But you're there to get that title for that race specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most people, the idea of racing is not, trying to be out on the front.
Well-
but anyway, any additional things to add to that conversation?
I don't know. I would. A lot of the stuff being written up is pretty good. I think people should check it out. Some of them are long reads, but
I'd love to have people actually send us some of their thoughts and ideas on it.
yeah.
Send us some of your comments.
Don't draw
because-
it out. Keep it short.
Yeah. Yay, nay.
Yeah, we don't need like a 40-minute voicemail or a huge paragraph. Just keep it short.
Voicemails are limited to 3 minutes, thank God.
Yeah, that's still too long.
Okay, so speaking of voicemails, I did actually, we got a voicemail from Marcus.
Which is funny because he just left me a voicemail.
I
on
know
the
that
phone.
guy.
Hey y'all, Marcus here. A few things. Just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate all the effort and work that you guys put into the podcast. It really is enjoyable to listen to. The four of you.
He sounds
that's
excited.
Right, four of you. Really have such a variety of personality that you all come together. It's a great formula. Second of all, for Joey and Wes, the infamous tail light mystery has been resolved.
Charge it, Marcus.
A 1-part mechanical, 2-part operator error. The block I was using for charging was intermittent, and I was using the 4-hour blink instead of the 10-hour blink. Didn't realize there was a difference, so my bad. All better though. And the third thing is, after my little Evel Knievel stunt show on Sunday, knocking some configurations of my bike out of whack enabled me to go back and retweak things, and I have found quite the comfortable setup now on it. So, silver lining, but lesson learned, probably won't be messing around so much on the old Sequoia. But again, just wanted to say hey, tell you guys what's up, and let you know you're doing a great job. So we'll talk to you later.
I don't know why everybody gets cut off right at the end, but I'm pretty sure he finished it with a love you bye.
I hope so.
I think so.
Yeah, it sounded like he was headed in that direction.
Ah,
So I guess you guys knew what he was talking about, and that he had some sort of a...
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I think the light in his head turned on.
He brought a light to us and says, "This thing doesn't last. It doesn't hold a charge." And I was like, "All right, well, that's weird." So we gave him a new one, and we took that one. So for fun, I wanted to before I do any warranty work, I always test it. So I charge it, and I put it on, and it lasted like 6+ hours. I was like, "What the hell?"
Hey, we ought to talk about lights.
What about them?
No, just
They're
not
bright.
now.
You
In
can
a
see at
future
night.
episode, it would be fun to actually
I
kind
got a
of
lot of lights.
talk about lights for the world of gravel when you're kind of off the beaten
Joey
path.
needs to fix his truck
so to
headlight.
speak.
Yeah, well, that's not my bike. I'm
Don't
going
know
to
how
make
to
sure
fix
I'll...
that. It's got an engine.
So he leaves his high beam on and blinds everybody.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Dude, I work a mile and something away, so my one light is burnt out, but my brights still work. So
Dude, the
I'm
cop
driving my
knows
brights.
your lights out.
Yeah, but how many cops do I pass? Also, I already screwed up because when I leveled my truck, I left my lights the same. So I think now that the brights are on, they go above the car light. I don't know.
They do not.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not looking at them.
All right. What's going on in Strava?
I need lights for Crotan.
I have some lights.
No, I got like 6 sets. I'm just saying I need lights.
Oh, yeah, we're going to need lights for growth 10. That's right.
We are not. You'll be fine. Strava. Ooh, you got Sheldor.
Yep.
Number 100 out of 100. Sheldon was 84. Also number 1 on our list today.
All the way
out
up.
of Lansing, Michigan.
Hey, how far is Lansing from Traverse City?
3 hours.
3 hours.
It's all the same. It's a shitty state.
That's how they say there.
93.2 miles.
Okay.
Jen from Frederick.
Jen what?
I don't know how to say that last name. Jen, I read cross-eyed through my microphone. 98.8 miles. And Jill Morgan.
Who is that?
I'm not even saying that. Jill Morgan, East Norriton, PA.
That doesn't look like that hard a name to pronounce, Joey.
Italia? Yeah, but
What is it?
I was trying to read through my microphone.
No, actually, say her whole name now.
Jen Italia. I hate you guys.
I wasn't even part of it.
He just skipped it.
Oh, man.
Poor Jen.
No, it was only funny the first time around last year.
No, that one
Jen
was
Italia. Wow. Oh, man.
That was a good one.
Spot for a real listener.
Anyway, sorry.
Nope. Jill Morgan, East Norton, PA.
That is Middle East Jill.
Oh.
That's Middle East Jill. That's like the third time she's come up in the random.
Middle East Jill.
Yeah. Remember you were trying to read her,
name,
her name before, and you were like, Jill, Middle East, North. And
I think we just gave her a nickname.
Well, she had a nickname.
Oh.
Middle
All
East
right.
Jill.
Jen Italia.
Anyway.
Okay. Oh, boy. To break into the top 100 for the week, you need 80.1 miles.
What are you reading over there?
Hey, we had another spike. We're up from 422 to 430 this week.
That's a big number. 8.
And if you haven't joined yet, strava.com/clubs/gravel, travel, and dirt.
So
There's no N in there. Gravel, travel, dirt.
No, just gravel, travel,
Gravel,
dirt.
travel, dirt.
Gravel, travel, dirt. Just like the domain name, gravel, travel, dirt.
Yeah.
So to break into, what was it? 100. You needed 80.1. Okay, I missed that.
It's because we had a warm week. I don't know if it was a warm weekend. It was a nice weekend.
It seems to be hovering around that 70 to 80 window.
Yeah.
Right now. So we'll watch for a spike in that. So cool.
Yeah, so.
That's your Strava Club update.
Strava.
What's going on? This is the last week.
Did I get a song?
Next week, you're going to get theme music for Joey's Tech Tip of the Week. So right now,
I want Ice Cube.
You need to tell me you need to give me some guidance on what kind of music
Joey gonna give it to you.
you want something heavy.
Well, we listened today was going to be a good day before we left work today, and I feel like that'd be good. Yeah. If Ted could do a remix of that for Tech Tip of the Week.
Okay. Challenge is out there, Ted.
All right.
So what is your Tech Tip of the Week, Joey?
I wrote wash your chain in a water bottle. All right.
I guess not one you would reuse, though.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Sure, why not? A little out of flavor.
Do you have? Most people have plenty of water bottles.
Yeah.
And some of them I have a lot.
Yeah.
You got to cycle through them, so you keep a couple dirty ones. Because I told people to cut water bottles in half and use them as a wash cup while they're washing a bike. Before, maybe I didn't say that, but that's what I do.
Okay.
When I wash it at home a lot, I like taking degreaser and hot water and putting it in a water bottle and slapping my chain in there when I want to take my chain off and clean it, because it contains everything. You shake it up, mix it up.
So you don't cut. You're not talking about cutting that.
No,
bottle. You
straight
just
water
put
bottle.
Put the top back on it.
We
and
do it at
shake
the store sometimes too.
Oh, I've seen you do that.
Yeah,
I've seen you do that.
And
Wes.
you can squirt some water out, and then
Looks like a shake weight.
Yeah,
and it's a good way to you can dump everything out, put some hot water and degreaser back in there,
So
let
you,
it sit
so
for a
you,
little bit.
you shake it.
Yeah.
Do you use your left hand?
Well, you can let it sit too. I'm not kidding there. You let it sit in there a little bit. Yeah, it's just a quick. It contains everything.
Yeah.
Instead of finding a bucket, all this other stuff. Just we have water bottles laying around.
Yeah.
I know some people like using those like park tool chain pig things. Like Pages has the pig.
Mm-hmm.
You clamp it around the chain.
Yeah, I've used one of those for years
Yeah.
and years and years.
You know what I'm getting ready to start doing?
What's up?
I feel like I have to twist my mustache when I says I'm about to start waxing all our chains. There's a big movement on waxing chains again, like with a crock pot and paraffin and stuff.
Yeah, I tried that once. I think Wes may have done it to one of my bikes. He was like, "Oh, I tried this and
There's like a way simpler way.
didn't like it at all."
I found
gummy.
a 2-part system that I had a customer use, and it's all about getting it hot enough and a couple steps. It looks so easy.
Yeah,
I'll show it to you.
I could be.
I gotta go Hobby Lobby and get my stuff.
I could probably be convinced to try it again,
I said, let me get my stuff done. We'll see how it works.
Okay.
Because I got 3 bikes to do.
It just felt really gummy. Like it was like, I don't know what it was.
I'm pretty solid with this.
Maybe the wax was too thick, or
maybe
it just didn't. It didn't.
Because I heard getting the temperature right will affect the consistency. Using the right mixture.
Okay.
I heard you. I mean, you obviously have to clean the crap out of your chain first.
Okay. So
But
maybe
then-
that's a good thing to do when you put a new chain on.
Well, even then you still have to break.
Oh, because they put
New
oil
chains
on it.
have a wax on it.
They put
which
a wax
works really
on it.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
So the wax helps it because they sit in a storage container. They're hot. They're cold. They're sitting there forever. So that wax helps them, especially on like new bikes out of boxes.
So then it is the perfect time to try that. When you put a new chain on, try the wax.
Well,
thing.
when you get a new chain, you still have to degrease it. You got to get all that old stuff off.
Okay.
But I also heard my friend Jacob that's doing this blend. He says after about 400 or 500 miles, everything is still squeaky clean. All you have to do is boil some water, put the chain in it, and the wax will come off, and then you start all over again.
I could be convinced to try it again if after you play around with it, you have good successes. So
We shall see.
yeah.
No, water bottle. You could get a 2-part water bottle and put a hole in one of them, and use that to. I've done that before, where I put a bunch of holes in the bottom, and then I run water through it, and I let it, and I shake it around, and it just drains out the bottom. So you're washing all the stuff off into your sink.
And you don't have to. You would still want to shake it. Well, you wouldn't want to shake because then stuff goes all over you.
Ideally, go on Amazon, buy a $50 ultrasonic cleaner.
I have a. We should chat because I have available to me that you may like it an actual degreasing machine.
Is it ultrasonic
Yes.
parts washer? Oh.
Yeah, a parts washer.
I just ordered a little one on Amazon.
Oh, you did?
At Parvella, we had a big, ultra.
I've got one that's
industrial
about the size of this table that I would give to you.
Mine, the one I ordered is like the size of a shoebox.
Oh no, this one's
Like a tissue box.
This one's pretty big.
No.
So maybe you don't want it. It's like an automotive parts cleaner.
The
So, anyway,
solution for that's probably more than I.
I
It's so
have
expensive, the chemicals.
I have a lot of garage things that I'm
No.
still trying to. Before you buy anything like that, you need to let me know. My Instagram. Thank you for that. Thank
Yeah.
you for that.
That was a
tech
side
tip.
tangent on waxing.
That was a very good tech tip.
Yeah.
Because I know when I saw that, I questioned. I was like, wash your chain in a water bottle. Okay. But
It's
I was
actually
curious
harder to
about
come up with these tech tips.
it than you think.
I've been a seasoned mechanic for like 14 years. So some stuff I think, it's a simple little trick, is not.
Okay.
It's like,
So-
I don't think your Joe Schmo's going to do that.
It was my turn for an Instagram follow of the week.
Yeah.
And so I follow some
Follow some what?
Shash.
Shash.
I'm like Sean.
Yeah.
Ain't no bum cover. Little
See, that was better than huge anus or whatever you just wrote down.
I follow a couple of gravel cycling hashtags, and so when it's my turn, I just pop out and find some that catch my eye. This one is Gravel Crushers, and it's really some really fantastic gravel bike porn, but only the Giant Revolt. So it's just that bike,
Just that bike.
over and over and over again. But they're all different. It's not like one guy with his bike.
It's all revolters.
Yes, it's all they're all revolting.
Yeah, John Revolter.
But it's really good, like bike porn. So if you're into that stuff, it is some fantastic gravel bike porn of the. This is what's off of their thing. All things Revolt, and they use the hashtag Gravel Crusher, which I don't think is how I found them. Just like with most people, I think they use a bunch of hashtags. If you're doing your social medias right,
Yeah, I have like a hashtag sheets. I think you're only allowed to like 30 now.
yeah, and then it cuts you off. and
Actually, at least they cut you off before if you went over. When you would post, nothing would just show up.
Didn't our GTD Instagram account get pinged one time and it was like shut down for a while because
What?
yeah, it was like way back when I first set
I
it
don't
up.
remember.
When I first set it up because I think I was using too many hashtags or something stupid
It
like
happens.
that. So,
You got to beat the algorithm somehow.
Then they turned it back on. So joining us now is Hunter Allen. He is widely known as one of the top experts in the world in coaching endurance athletes using power meters. He's the founder of Peaks Coaching Group. He's the co-founder of TrainingPeaks software and has been instrumental in developing and spreading the power training principles. And this is something that's really cool. This spring and fall, Hunter and Peaks Coaching Group will be joined by our friend, Selene Yeager, for the 2020 Epic Appalachian Appalachian, excuse me. Did I say that wrong?
It depends where you're from.
It depends on where you're from.
Yes.
Appalachian Gravel Grinder Bike Camp. So welcome, Hunter. Good to have you here tonight.
Well, thank you so much. This is a great honor. I'm really excited to be on the show.
That's the first time anybody's described being on our podcast as being an honor.
You hear that, everybody else from here on out.
Yeah.
You're setting the bar kind of high for some of our folks. So we want to dive right in because I am very, very curious about this myself. How is the idea of training with power different in the world of gravel, in your opinion?
Yeah, so it is a little different. There's a few distinct things that you need to understand. Number one, your power on a gravel bike on the gravel road is going to be lower. It's going to be lower than what you can produce on your road bike. Number one, you've got more resistance. You've got bigger tires, you've got rolling resistance. Your power is just going to be a little lower. You've got all kinds of things that are happening, bumps and rocks and all this. So it's a little more difficult to actually create and transmit that power to the rear wheel than it would be on a road bike. They're not quite as efficient. Number two is that it's similar in a way to mountain biking. And this is a little terrain dependent. So, if you're riding gravel roads in Florida versus riding gravel roads in Pennsylvania versus riding gravel roads in California, that's going to be a little different. But in general, when we think about how we produce power, so just kind of a real quick little basic lesson. Remember, power is measured in wattage or watts, and wattage is created by torque, all right, so how much something twists. And on a bicycle, we have lots of things that twist, and torque is really, how hard you pedal, right? So how hard you pedal multiplied by what's called angular velocity, and that's basically cadence, how fast you're pedaling. So power, really simply, is how hard you pedal multiplied by how fast you pedal. So you can create 1,000 watts by pedaling really, really fast, 150 RPM, in a really small gear. Maybe you got a 34, 30, and you can just spin your brains out and still produce 1,000 watts. Or you can produce it by pushing really hard, more torque, but really slowly. So maybe you've got a 5311, and you start from 5 miles an hour, and you can produce that same 1,000 watts there. Now, kind of back to why it's different, on a road bike, we tend to spend a little more time pedaling with less torque and a little more speed, a little more cadence. And that's basically because we've got a lot of momentum. We've got these bikes that are super aero, and we've got very low rolling resistance, and we're in a lower position, and so we are very economical going through the wind and going quickly, so we can keep our cadence higher with a little less force. Mountain biking, we tend to put more force on the pedals, and pedal a little slower because we've got to maintain traction, we've got to get over rocks and roots and stuff like that, and that translates a little bit into gravel. And so gravel tends to have a little slower cadence than you would on the road. You're dealing with lots of different terrains. You're dealing with lots of different surfaces, that could be slippery or not slippery. And so having a little more torque, so that means more strength and a little less cadence, is a pretty significant difference between that and road cycling.
I got a quick question, because that's nothing I ever thought of. So, and this might be a might be a good question, might be a bad question. It might be hard to judge. All right, so you have your typical roadie who's making their transition into gravel. They've been training with power forever, and you're saying that the power output is a difference on the gravel than the road, right?
Yes.
Do you see, with all the data you collect, is it like typically 80% of what your power is on the road, or is there a real number to kind of base it off of? Is it going to, because I know sometimes it's demoralized for some people, and if they're seeing their numbers are a lot lower on gravel,
right?
Does that make sense? I don't know how I worded that one.
Well, no, that's a great question because and the problem is there isn't a defined it's going to be this much off because it is terrain dependent.
Yeah.
Imagine you're going up a bumpy gravel road, a long climb. That's going to be with loose gravel. You're going to have a hard time producing. Maybe 30 watts lower than what your FTP would be if you were on a road bike going up a nice smooth paved road.
Yeah.
Versus, it may only be 10 watts or so, or maybe 12, 15 watts on a flat road that's relatively smooth and doesn't have lots of loose rocks and such, and you're able to produce more power that way. So it's more really dependent on the type of gravel you're on.
So what I think I'm hearing is that it's not a linear relationship. You can't just say knock off a certain percentage, as you were trying to describe it, Joey. It's more like you got a lot of other variables and factors that come into the mix, and I really wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah, me neither.
That wouldn't have entered my mind at all. So yeah. Interesting.
So, and that really changes. So why is that important, right? So why is that important to everybody listening here today and gravel riders? It's important because that's a piece of the puzzle. Because what we do as coaches, right? The first thing we have to do is we have to define the demands of the event. And then the second thing is we train to the demands of the event. And so if the demands of our event are different than what we're normally used to training for, then we need to train to those new demands. And so if you're spending a bunch of time riding on your road bike and pedaling at 100 RPM with relatively less force, and then you jump on your gravel bike on the weekend for some really super fun gravel ride or a race or an event, and you might struggle because now you're actually using more muscular strength, so more force in the pedals, pedaling at a slower cadence. So we do need to train, we need to train so that you can handle that.
So that thought actually leads me right into sort of my next question. Now, our listeners, we skew mostly to the mid-pack, backpack kind of area of an event. But of course, we all want to perform well, and we want to finish the events we start. So how should that rider train for gravel events, keeping this, crossover from road to gravel and the use of the power meter? How should they train for a gravel event that's both either a short distance event or a long distance event?
Right. So, all right. So typically, the folks who are in the middle to the back part of the group, they struggle with a couple of different things. Number one, endurance is a huge factor, right? So maybe you just don't have the time to train longer rides, etc. And then so just pure cardiovascular endurance, and then there's muscular endurance. So okay, my muscles are fatigued at a point that I just can't push any farther, and now you're going to get muscle cramps, right? And that's no fun. And then, three, when you kind of think of it too, it's like, well, we need to improve what we call what's our FTP, our functional threshold power. The ability to produce power is the most power we can produce for around an hour or so. So if you kind of think of it in that way, then the things that you need to train are, one, we need to make sure that you're doing long enough rides that are going to prepare you for the event you're doing. All right. So let's say, for example, you think you're going to do this gravel grinder, it's going to be a 5-hour event. Then, in the month before that, you probably need to put a couple of big 5-hour rides under your belt, and you need to do them on the gravel bike. Don't go and do them on the road bike. Go out and get on the gravel roads and train, the kind of event piece that you're doing. Number two, we need to make sure that you're doing enough of this lower cadence, a little bit higher force work. So, not 50 RPM, right? Not 60 RPM, but let's get you in the 70s, and let's get you in a little bit harder gear than maybe you'd like to be in, producing a little more force on the pedals, and then do that in basically kind of a block, right? I'm gonna do this at 70 RPM or 75 RPM for an hour, and I'm going to push pretty hard on the pedals here at what we would call your upper tempo pace, 85 to 90% of what we call your FTP. And that's going to really make a difference in helping that muscular endurance so you don't get cramps at the end of the event. And then, of course, you just got to raise your FTP. Those are just doing intervals at your FTP or below it, and that's universal for everybody.
So real quick, so I have a question because this is all new. It's not new to me, but I'm looking at things totally differently now over the last just our conversation. So training plans though too for like people when you're talking about pushing the lower cadence, but a higher gear. Is that one of the bigger differences? And I see these gravel training plans versus maybe just the typical century training plan. Or like, what is the
good point? Yeah.
What's going to be a little different between a gravel plan and a regular century plan for the average Joe?
Well, it should be, right. I mean, that's maybe my hope is that that's the case.
Okay.
And that would be one of the things. So there's a couple of different things. So to go down this rabbit hole a little farther. When we think of muscular strength and you think of cycling, you have to kind of think of it in two different ways. So I talked about the one way, producing a little more force with a little lower cadence.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to maybe an analogy might help here. So think about the weight room. All right, we're going to go in the weight room. Probably most people have been to the weight room and lifted some weights in their life. One day you decide, okay, you know what? Man, I go in there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I do 3 sets of 10 reps, and I've been bench pressing 100 pounds for 10 years, and I haven't really got any better. But one day, I'm just going to go for 200 pounds. I'm going to try. I'm going to do everything I can to get to 200 pounds. So, if you kind of go with this philosophy of a little harder, and I'm going to do it for a little longer period of time, then you say, well, I'm going to put 115 pounds on here, and instead of 3 sets, 10 reps, I'm going to just do it 1,000 times, right? And then I'm just going to get, stronger, and eventually I'm going to be able to do 200 pounds. Well, we all know that you're never going to be able to bench press 200 pounds.
Doesn't work that way.
Right. It doesn't work that way. Why doesn't it work that way? Because you're not stimulating the muscle to enough to create enough training stress, putting enough strain on the muscle for it to adapt and get stronger. All right. So that, and I say this because but that doesn't negate the fact that you still shouldn't ride your bike a little bit more at 70 RPM, a little more force, because you're going to have to do that and do these gravel events. So you need to be prepared for that. The second thing you have to think about from a muscular strength standpoint, back to the weight room, right? How are we going to bench press 200 pounds? Well, we're going to do 6 sets, 8 reps, and now we're going to do 130 pounds, and then we're going to do 6 sets, 6 reps, and we're going to do 150 pounds, and eventually we'll just get down so that we can do 1 rep and you crack 200 pounds. You've really improved your strength. So the way to do that on a bicycle is what I call tractor pulls. I'm from the South, so we got tractors. And a tractor pull is a great way to build muscular strength on the bicycle. And what we do is you basically put it in the biggest gear you got. So whatever that is, 50, 12, 53, 12, whatever you got on there, biggest gear you got. Slow down to about 3 to 5 miles an hour. Stay seated. You're seated the entire time. Hands on the drops. You're going to tighten your abdominal muscles, and you are going to just jump on the pedals and try and rip the handlebars off the stem and just grunt and push and push and push until you get to about 85 RPM. All right?
Yeah.
But you got to stay seated. All right? So when you get to 85 RPM, you're now back to bench pressing 1,000 times 125 pounds, right? Now the load isn't enough to stimulate the muscles to create actual strength gains. So I know that's a long kind of story there, but we have to think of it from two different places. How do we improve our strength? We can have pure strength, which will help you get up a steep hill. It'll help you get over some gnarly terrain, right? It'll help you sprint away from somebody else, improve your sprint. And then the other side, you've got, well, now I'm going to be riding at 70 RPM for an hour up this, climb down the hill, up the climb down the hill. I'm trying to maintain traction, etc. So we think about it from two places.
So this is actually, my eyes are kind of opening up a little bit because Joey and I both are sitting here staring at each other across the table. Joey and I are both signed up for the Croatan Buck 50, the full nut. The full 150, and we've been training, but it's difficult. The time of the year is tough because we're kind of a lot of it's stuck indoors on a trainer, and it's just that weird time of the year. It's such an early event.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've done is I've added a different activity for endurance. I've added swimming back into the mix. Joe, you're doing a lot of trainer work. Just trying to spend a lot of time on the bike, I think, is the thing.
Trying to get my heart rate down.
Yeah. Trying to build that endurance. So I'm going to go back and listen to that little running with it. And actually, after we recorded this and put it to bed, I'm going to go back and listen and take some specific notes along the steps of that.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, kind of back to your original question, what a training plan should incorporate, and I do have some pre-built gravel training plans. I mean, I've got 150 plus gravel training plans that I've written over the past, 15, 18 years or whatever. And I have specific gravel plans, and that's what they do, right? You've got to keep training the normal stuff, right? Exercise physiology hasn't you're changed. You still got to train your FTP, you still got to train your VO2 max, you still got to train your anaerobic capacity, you still got to train your endurance and stuff. But what I add into my training plans is these two aspects of muscular strength and muscular endurance. So those are critical pieces of anybody's training plan when you're thinking about a gravel event.
So I feel this next question, we might be circling back on some of the things, but I think it's important to kind of draw them out. The key differences, what are the key differences in how you create or generate power across those three disciplines, gravel, road, and mountain bike?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So that does kind of come back. So think about a couple of thoughts here. So number one, when we're on a road bike, we're pedaling generally more quickly, and let's say, for example, you're with a group ride or whatever, you're having to stay on top of the pedals because you're trying to hold a wheel, right? I'm on the wheel, I'm off the wheel, I'm on the wheel, I'm off the wheel, right? So you've got these little bursts in there. So there's a ton of these little micro bursts that occur in road cycling, and that's one thing that some people just aren't very good at. And it's like, gosh, I'm really good at just steady state, right? I can just go this speed and go at this power forever. But if you ask me to change speeds, then I can't do that. So in road cycling, you've got to have this ability to change speeds in a very short burst of power, and maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds kind of thing. When we think about it to the mountain bike way, then we're now crossing over from this idea of pedaling very slow with a lot of force, maybe 50 RPM, but really hard to get some steep kind of incline or pop over a root or go around a rock or something, to, okay, now I've just got to make sure that I maintain traction, so I can't push too much force here because I'm going to lose traction, so I've got to keep my cadence high. So mountain biking really has, it really encompasses everything from a perspective of how you produce power and then how quickly you need to pedal. So that's why mountain bikers tend to be very good at or very economical at pedaling. and we think of it as economy. So here, let me go on my little soapbox for a second while I'm here talking about economy. In cycling in general, there are two words that you hear: efficiency and you hear economy. Most people don't really understand the difference between these two words. So when you think of economy, right, think of economy about, how many miles per gallon does your car get, right? That's economy, right? So think of economy as everything in the bicycle that happens outside your body, okay? So if I have a thin rolling or a really thin tire that has very low rolling resistance versus a 42 gravel tire, I'm going to be more economical because now I can move that bike faster with less energy. Okay, if I have, if I'm going to at the same time, I'm going to be able to pedal with less force on the pedals. So I'm more economical. Think of, most people think about pedaling, it's pedaling efficiency and all this stuff. Well, it's actually pedaling economy. Think of pedaling, think of efficiency as everything that happens inside your body. Okay, so efficiency is you have bigger, larger stroke volume in your heart. Right, the heart can't change its size really much, but it can change the inside. The diameter of the walls get thinner, and so the inside diameter gets bigger, so you can pump more blood. You've got more capillaries in the muscles to get more blood and oxygen to those working muscles. So those things are real efficiency changes. So when I hear somebody say, my pedaling efficiency is really great, I'm like, well, did you get like some kind of bionic ankle now? Less resistance there or something? I don't understand. So it's really economy. Now, the confusion comes in when it's like, there's efficiency and economy together, right? So you can have a very efficient chain, right? And that chain is something that is light, it moves really easily, and you've got good lube on it and all this stuff, but it also can improve the economy, right? So that's where the confusion comes in.
I'm like, my head is full. It sounds like there's like so much stuff that, because I'm relatively new to the world of training with power at all, because a few seasons ago when Zwift was a thing and a smart trainer was a new thing, and that was how you spent your winter, and then you went back out on the road and it was like, well, where's my power number? I don't have it anymore. So you have to kind of jump on that bandwagon. So but it sounds like there is a lot of information that's required of somebody that's in that arena that's looking to transition what they've been doing on the road over into the world of gravel. It almost sounds like there would be a good idea if there was some sort of a gravel camp or something like that. How do you like my segue, Hunter?
That's a great idea. Tell
us a little bit, because you're getting ready to this spring and this fall, along with Selene Yeager, our good friend Selene, do a gravel camp here on the East Coast, and it sounds like an amazing experience. I want to kind of turn it over to you to walk us through the event. I mean, I've looked at it online, but I want to hear it from you.
Absolutely. No. So our gravel camp, we have the first one this spring is April the 1st through the 5th, and then the fall is September 30th through October 4. And Selene's coming. I'm super psyched because I love Selene as well, and we've worked together so many times. And I was like, you have to come to camp, and you got this great gravel book. Oh, this will be so awesome. So anyway, so she's coming. It's going to be super fun, and you guys know Selene. She's just so much fun to be around.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were going to have a great time. I mean, it's a 5-day camp, and what we're going to do is we're going to introduce you to how to train with a power meter and how to incorporate that into your gravel riding and training. So we have a day where we're going to go up a 35, 45-minute climb on our gravel bikes. That'll be our test of our FTP on the gravel bike. I've got a beautiful climb here in my backyard called the Peaks of Otter. Very fortunate to have this amazing climb, and we normally climb up it on the paved road, but we've got this amazing back road that goes up as well, so we'll do that. We'll also do we've got a beautiful loop that will be a combination of pavement and then these great gravel sections as well, with some really fun climbs. We'll do our 1 minute and our 5 minute testing there as well, because 1 minute represents your anaerobic ability, how hard you can go for a short period of time and then recover quickly. So we need to understand that, because that could be a strength or it could be a limiter for you. And then there's the 5 minute test, and that's a test of essentially what we call your VO2 max. How quickly can you get the oxygen into your lungs, into your into your heart, into your working muscles, essentially. And that's a great test, again, that helps us to understand your strengths and limiters. Every afternoon after we come back, we have a wonderful, I usually teach a yoga class. I taught yoga for 5 years. It's been a while now, but I still love doing that, so I'll teach a little class. We'll have recovery shakes. We download our power meters, and then we go over a group power education. What are the different power training principles? What are the things that are unique to gravel cycling? What are some different ways to interpret and analyze this data using the TrainingPeaks WCO 5 software? And then we'll have a sprint day. We'll go out and we'll actually have a day where we simulate a race finish, which is a super fun day. Everybody loves that day. Everybody's a little apprehensive. If you haven't come to my camps yet, I don't know, this sounds kind of crazy. But then afterwards, everybody's like, oh my God, that was so much fun. And it really is, because we kind of simulate a little team tactics, and we're gonna have a really fun road that we'll do that on. And then we'll have our last day will be a great day where we put all these skills together and do a really fun gravel loop. So it's going to be a fun camp. It'll be great.
And it looked like, I was looking at the website, which I will put links in the show notes for everybody, so that they'll be able to find it directly. A lot of good food too. It looks like pizza, Mexican.
You have my interest.
Absolutely. Gotta have good food.
Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic week. How about the dates one more time, Hunter?
Yeah, so our spring camp is April the 1st through April the 5th, and then our fall camp will be September 30th through October 4th.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, so I do manage a bike shop, and I've been with Power a lot. I'm thinking this would be actually really great for my wife to go and then do some work for a GTD on this camp. Yeah. Now, she's only used Power on her Wahoo, on her kicker, gravel wise, and I think I've used every type of power meter. What do you think is the best power meter setup for a gravel bike? Like, if maybe I wanted to set her up with something, what's your opinion of what should I do for her?
Yeah, so there's I think that, when I get that question, all the time, right? What's the best power meter?
Yeah.
You have to think you have to ask yourself a couple of questions. Number one, are you in the gravel world? Are you using mountain bike pedals? Or are you using road pedals? So bike shoes or road shoes. If you're using mountain bike shoes and pedals, then that probably takes you out of the equation for mountain bike for a power meter there. Now, there is a hack that you can do, which is on. There's a great YouTube video, actually. The Favero pedals, the power meter pedals, the Favero pedals, they can be changed over to a mountain bike pedal body, and you still have the actual mountain bike power meter. Uh-huh. So that's the only hack there. I have heard there is another company coming out with a mountain bike pedal that's going to be a power meter as well. I haven't seen that yet, so that'll be interesting to see. The second question you have to ask yourself, so if you have road shoes, right, then you could totally go with a road pedal, a power meter pedal, if you had road shoes. So that's the question that you have to ask. Then secondly, if you're somebody who changes bikes frequently, Like, let's say you get a new bike every 3 or 4 years or something, just because you like getting new bikes. Who doesn't?
Joey gets one every 3 or 4 months.
Then you are very acutely aware of the bottom bracket problems and wars. Getting a compatible crankset and fitting that onto a frame is a nightmare, as you know. Yep. So then that's a problem, because you might buy a crank-based power meter that fits the current bike that you have, but then all of a sudden you get another frame 2 or 3 years later, and then it doesn't fit in that frame, and now you got to buy a power meter too. So that's one of the concerns that I always have when I look at the frame-based ones. Now, when the other one is the power tap hub, so you can put it in your rear wheel, and they have a great one that has a disc brake option, and then it's a wheel, and you got it, and you ride the thing and you beat the heck out of it, and at the end of whatever the thing, when it's dead, it starts breaking spokes like crazy. You just cut the hub out, you build it on another rim, and you just go and do it again. So that's also an option. I personally have a Quark D0 on my gravel bike. I don't change frames very frequently, so normally I keep bikes for 10 years or so or whatever. So I was like, yeah, perfect. I'll just, Quark hooked me up with a power meter, and it's super simple. It works great, and no issues with it. So crank-based ones work really, really well for gravel.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Quarks, but I have a love-hate, I guess, as a bike shop manager with stages. How do you feel about stages on gravel bikes and whatnot? I personally like I said, I like the spider base, but I see the abuse sometimes that crank arms could take. How do you feel about that in numbers?
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem with the Favero pedals as well. I actually talked with the owner of Favero. It's been a few weeks ago now, and asked him about it. He's like, yeah, you can totally do this, but the problem is we don't, we can't warranty or anything, because the thing gets whacked by a rock or a stick or whatever, and it may be toast. And I think that's a little bit of the issue with the stages as well, where you have that pod on the inside of the crank arm. I mean, that's a fairly protected area. Yeah. But like you said, I mean, these bikes take a lot of abuse, so that could be an issue there for sure.
Yeah.
So I've been lurking in the shadows, waiting to ask my question.
Yeah. Hey, Wes.
And
hey, Wes.
I was wondering. So training with power is, I would say, one of the more expensive kind of sensors to put on your bike. Somebody that's on a budget for power, that wants to use power as an option, is there one that you would recommend over another?
Yeah, I tell you what, if you're on a budget, I would go on eBay and I would buy a power tap wheel. And there are plenty of these things on eBay. I think that's probably the least expensive way to go, and they're also very reliable. They work. They've done a great job with those. So I think that would be my just buy a used one, get one, put it on your bike. Whatever, ready to go. Now you may have to build it into another wheel or something. You could get it and cut the wheel out, cut the hub out, and stick it on a gravel wheel. That might be the way to go. I don't really recommend the single-sided power meters. So there's a lot like the stages you mentioned, and then you can even get pedals that are single-sided. The problem with that is in general, our legs are about 5% different between the strengths of the legs, and so and then not only are they different in the strengths of their legs, but they change throughout intensities. So let's say, for example, when I'm riding an endurance pace, and this isn't unique to me. This is a fairly common thing that I've seen in lots of data of lots of people. That for me, when I'm riding an endurance pace, my right leg does a lot of the work. my left leg just kind of hangs out. So it's not doing much. And then when I start to get closer and closer to my FTP, my left leg kicks in and starts to do all this work. Like, it's been resting and hanging out. Now, buddy, it's time to do your job here. Get to work. So it starts doing more work. And then when I go even above that to like sprint, then my right leg kicks back in again, and it starts to do more work on my right side. And so it's very, at first I started seeing this in some of the data. I'm like scratching my head. I'm like, this can't be right. This is crazy. This is happening. And then I saw it in some of the athletes I coach, and I saw it more. And then I had people who came to me for consulting or, at camps and stuff. And they're like, we're seeing all this data. I'm like, golly, wow, this is like not just me. This is like a lot of people, 80% of the cyclists out there. So anyhow, so the long story short is what happens then is if you have a left side power meter only, well, gosh, in my case, it's always going to be lower than actual when I'm riding around at endurance pace. It's always going to be higher than actual when I'm riding my FTP, and then it's going to be lower again when I'm sprinting or doing anaerobic capacity work. So you really need a power meter that measures both legs together.
Cool.
Nice. Have you done any personal use to those to the rotor power meters?
Yes,
like the ones that are like in the spindle, because I find those really cool. I think they'd be great for gravel and stuff because they're nothing's exposed.
Yes. Now I haven't used that one. I used one that was a generation before that, and that worked really well. So I haven't used that one, but that makes a lot of sense to me too. And then again, that's going to be fairly weatherproof and should be pretty solid down there. No worries.
Nice.
So we got a question from a listener about overtraining.
Okay.
And any thoughts on overtraining? Is that something that's
Is it real?
Is it real? Yeah.
Is it mental or physical?
Both. All right, so let's come back to some definitions. All right, so let's think about so what we think of it as there's overreaching, and there's what we call functional overreaching, and there's non-functional overreaching. All right, so we like functional overreaching. That means I'm training harder than normal. I'm stimulating my body to get fatigued, and then I'm adapting and getting stronger from it. All right, so you're functionally overreaching. You're improving as you train harder. Right, I'm training hard, but I'm getting better. Right. Yeah. Then, if you keep doing that too long without giving yourself a rest, then you move into a place called non-functional overreaching. Now, you can still train, right? You're still doing your workouts, you're still doing your intervals, but you're just kind of slowly getting a little slower. You're getting more and more tired. You're not improving anymore. You're just maintaining or getting a little worse. Now, if you keep in that place of non-functional overreaching for too long, then you get to a place called Overtraining Syndrome. So this is a place where now you have to get off the bike for 3 months or a month or 6 months.
Whoa.
I must suffer from this.
Or you're injured, right? And then it's like, oh man, I got this injury, right? Well, usually that's an overtraining syndrome. You get an injury because you've done too much, and maybe you have to take off a year before you come back. So that's what we call truly the overtraining syndrome, is when you need to take off a big block of time and then recover and come back. Most of us are when we become tired and we need some rest, we're in a state of non-functional overreaching, and that's fine to be in that, right? Because it's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna take a rest week. I'll feel stronger the next week. Maybe you got to take 2 rest weeks. All right, that's totally fine. That's totally normal, and then you can come back to functional overreaching, where you're training effectively and getting stronger from that training. So and then there's, like you said, it's mentally and physical. There's both of those things, and you can be just, wow, I'm just done mentally thrashing myself. I've thrashed myself for a year now, and I just need a break mentally from this. And I would say that if you have to take a break for 6 months or 3 months or a month or whatever, that's part of overtraining syndrome. Whether you're physically tired or not, maybe it's just a mental
burnout.
Yeah, a little bit of that. What we commonly call, like we could call burnout. Yeah.
So, hopefully Justin learned a lot from that. He's the one who asked. Question I get: we should have started out with, what's your gravel bike setup? What are you riding?
Let's go back to basics.
Yeah. There you go. Right. So I've just got a frame that a buddy of mine has a company in China, and it's just it's just a bike out of China. And he's like, hey, man, I can get you this bike and frame really cheap, and we can paint it, Peaks coaching your colors. You can put Peaks coaching all over it. I'm like, cool, let's do that. Sweet. So, they make a bunch of different gravel bikes, this company does. I'm not going to mention them, but they make a bunch of them, and you can get them, if you know a guy who knows a guy, you can get one in time.
Oh, we could have a gravel travel dirt frame.
There we go.
Yeah, we'll partner with Peaks.
And we'll call the frame It's Your Face.
I can hook you up. So that's the frame, and then I have some really sweet Bontrager Aeolus wheels, gravel wheels on there that they're just amazing. Then I put all SRAM on there. I did not go with the SRAM E-Tap or anything because I just wanted to be like, I don't want to have to deal with charging anything on my gravel bike. I kind of feel like my whole life revolves around charging small electronic devices. I've got this 2 Garmin's that I'm charging. I got lights that I'm charging. I got power meter batteries that I'm charging.
Yeah.
I've got shifters that I'm charging. I've got phones that I'm charging. I've got stop.
It's overload. Overload.
I do know at one point in time, and I got away from it because I had to. I was on Amazon trying to find out what USB hub I could use to charge all my stuff. It was ridiculous. I was like, if I got to that point, I had to take a step back.
So, Hunter, I lead bike tours for a couple of different bike companies, and we have one of the companies, Wilderness Voyagers. We provide all of our participants with Garmin's every day, and it's our job to charge them every night. So you literally have a case that's like you just described, Joey, one big thing that everything goes in, and you're charging 25 different devices at one time, plus managing your own stuff. So it's
crazy.
Charging fatigue.
Yep.
Let's call that charging fatigue. Hey, Hunter, thank you so much.
I'm excited to re-listen to this.
It's opened my eyes to the fact that, and I think that was my one takeaway, was what I said earlier, is that it's not linear. You can't just say, power is power, whether it's gravel or road. There's variables that you have to take into consideration, and you need to understand that data to actually get the most out of it. And I think that's my takeaway from the conversation. So first, before we dive into this week's, I need to wrap up our Facebook poll from episode 55.
Yep.
The this or that I threw out for all of our listeners in the social places was free, strong Wi-Fi wherever you go, or unlimited free coffee at any coffee shop you enter. 56%, we had 80 votes, 56% said free Wi-Fi, and 44% said free coffee. So Wi-Fi just taking the nudge from
That's
coffee.
A good answer.
Yeah, what would your answer have been on that, Hunter?
Yeah, I think I'd go with the free Wi-Fi too.
Yeah. Because we had one listener on one of the comments made a really good point. it was like you said, free strong Wi-Fi wherever I go. That means when I don't have cell service, I'm still going to have free strong Wi-Fi. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, that is a game changer right there. So,
and when you share just 2 gigs with your wife, free Wi-Fi anywhere is amazing.
Okay, so this will be our order of conversation. Hunter, you're our guest, so I'm going to read the this or that, and then I'm going to hand it over to you for your answer. And if you feel inclined, go ahead and tell us why. Then I'm going to give it to Joey. Then I'm going to provide an answer that will be something interesting, and then Wes will muck it all up.
I always do.
That'll work. Yep. Okay. First item on this or that. Wheel-based power meter or pedal-based power meter?
Oh, man.
I threw a softball.
Question now.
I threw a softball.
Oh, I'm going to go with a wheel-based power meter because they just work and they're just simple. You stick them on your bike and it's done.
Don't think about it anymore. Yep. Joey?
I would probably go wheel. I always feel like pedals are the first thing to get damaged.
Yeah.
So
I would go with wheel simply because
you simple.
I'm simple, but it's also the pedals are just so damn ugly. Like these big giant things hanging off of your crank arms. Wes, where are you at?
Well, I figured this was a trick question, and it was. There is the wind-based power meter that looks like a little deer whistle that you put on your handlebar.
Does it make a little noise?
Totally go for one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Wes. The next item on this or that. Have an extra leg or have an extra arm, Hunter?
Oh, wow. I think I'm going to go with an extra arm because, man, I could do a lot of stuff with another arm. Just think about all the cool things you could fix, on your bike or your car if you had an extra arm. There's so many times like, dang it, I need another arm here. I need another hand.
Well, the hand doesn't come with it. It's just the arm. No, I would assume that the hand would come along.
I don't know so.
Joey?
As a bike mechanic, I'm going to go with the arm.
Sold separately.
Hand sold separately.
Hand sold.
You go with the arm.
I need the hand some days at work.
Okay, yeah. When you need to do some of the West work.
I feel like I could do all my computer work and work on a bike at the same time, like
that would
at
be
my
awesome.
Workbench. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I would go with the extra leg because then you could, we've been talking about power, you'd have one leg in reserve and then you could just swing it over and then you could rest one and then swing it back and you'd just be continually resting. There'd be that one leg, though, that would be gigantic, the one in the middle.
Where are we going to put that thing?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't. Wes?
Is he still there?
Yes, he is.
I would definitely go for the extra leg because it'd be nice to just kick your ass whatever I want.
Kick your own ass. Okay, let's get political. UCI gravel race or a USAC gravel race? Hunter?
Oh, God. I'm not a huge fan of the UCI, so I'm going to go with the USAC gravel race.
Joey?
I don't know who shoots himself in the foot more. I'm going to go USAC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trick question. Neither one of them. Go ahead, Wes. Did I just steal your answer?
I was going to say they could both make like gravel races and kick rocks.
Yeah, pretty much.
And our last this or that. Now, this one I find interesting. Never have to shower again or never have to clip your toenails or apply sunscreen.
You mean like so you never clip your toenails and you never have to...
Yeah, that's a twofer. It's a twofer. So you would never have to shower again, or you would never have to clip your toenails, nor would you have to apply sunscreen. You got it,
I'm going to go with never clip your toenails and apply sunscreen because I wear a lot of sunscreen a lot of times out in the sun, and it's just like I'm a little worried about how much sunscreen I wear sometimes.
It's just part of you now.
Joey?
I love sitting in the shower for a little bit.
I don't think
But I'm a ginger, so I might need a sunscreen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
well, which one?
I don't think you'll melt if you get in the
I'd
shower.
rather not have to clip my toenails or apply sunscreen.
Okay. It says you never have to shower again. It doesn't mean you can't shower if you wanted to.
I think it'd be more interesting that you would have melted.
And you
Like
would
a witch.
if you got in the shower, you would melt. Okay. I take a lot of showers, and it takes a lot of time. I don't know. I don't really care about clipping my toenails. I only do that like every 6 months or so anyway.
Yeah.
I think mine just snap off in my shoes.
Yeah.
I would go with never having to shower again, Wes.
I don't want to apply sunscreen anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ginger,
Shower buddy?
Yeah. That's,
Shower buddy.
that's fine. We'll take a shower when we want to take a shower, Brian.
Excellent.
I think we all just agreed.
I think so.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah,
good
if I don't take showers anymore, I won't listen to Dirty Chain podcast anymore.
You couldn't go one episode without talking about your Michigan boys.
I didn't talk about it last time, did I?
I don't know.
I don't know. I listen in the shower exclusively.
Oh. Hey, a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hunter, that was awesome.
That was our most educational podcast out
Oh.
of all 56 of them.
Oh, by far. By
Yeah.
far.
Whoa, to win something, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll send you a card. Legitimately, I'll get your address after this.
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
Okay. Thanks, Hunter.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
great
you.
to be on here, guys. A lot of fun.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Love you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Anything else
Wait.
before we shut this thing down?
Hey, got anything else before we shut this thing down, guys?
Hey, you got anything else before we shut this thing down, guys?
I think we need to shut this down. Wes, do you have anything that you want to add before we shut this down?
I
You
do,
want to add anything?
I'm so excited to add something before we shut this thing down.
Nice.
Are we going to shut it down?
We're getting ready to shut
We're
it
going
down.
to, but we need to add something before we
We
shut
were
it
We're
down.
to
too
add.
serious for too long. Let's shut her down.
Shut her down, boys.
Bunch of
Shut
nerds.
it down.
Yeah. Turn it off. Anyway, we at the beginning of the episode, we did not talk about our new Patreon supporters. It's because we had a line crossed through it because we didn't have any.
We didn't have any.
But you heard our call, you heard our cries, and you came to help us. Jesse Piccolo,
Excellent.
a new Patreon supporter. Thank
Well,
you very much.
We will give him a proper top of the episode thank you next week. So
yeah.
he gets a twofer because it came in while we were recording.
I feel
So
like if we get Patreon supporters while we record, we should give them like double stickers or something.
excellent
That's
idea.
the Illuminati working right there.
So we record every Monday night, everybody, or Tuesday night.
Tuesday. Now you
Tuesday
messed
night.
us up.
Tuesday night. I'm all screwed up. Little preview for next week. We're going on the road, boys.
Is that next week?
That is next week.
Where we going?
We are going on the road to visit Alex Howe, the team manager at Vander Kitten Racing, along with her husband Chris. They are the co-directors of the Dirty Critten.
Dirty Critten.
the Dirty Critten would be good if they put on.
It's been a long day. Dirty Kitten. Dirty Kitten Gravel Race in Rapidan, Virginia, and that coming up in June. So we're
I thought
gonna-
it was August 3rd.
I think it's in June. I think it's late June because that is when I can't do it because no, excuse me. I'm sorry. It's late July. Late July. I am in. Do you have a date for it?
That's 2019. I'm an idiot.
I know it's while I'm in.
Last
Empire
year was
State Ride.
August. This year is July 25th.
Yeah, it's while I'm in
Christmas
Empire
in
State
July.
Ride. So, thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Mid-Atlantic Gravel Travel and Dirt. This is a listener-supported podcast by some incredible people on Patreon and PayPal, including Jesse that just joined us a few minutes ago. Our show can be found wherever you find your favorite podcast. Please take a minute to like, follow, subscribe, whatever you need to do to smash a button to follow along.
Oh, don't smash
in
the button
your
anymore.
Favorite? You don't smash buttons anymore?
I hate
No,
when people always say that. Smash that like button right there.
Oh, okay. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're
You
not
You
doing
did that. It
That's
takes
like the salt life of YouTube.
yeah.
So how about in our world you throw a rock?
No,
What?
Then you
because
break it.
it took me like 2 weeks to get my keyboard replaced by Apple.
So what
you
should
smash
we
it
do?
or you throw a rock at it, it's gonna take some time.
How about you just like it? How about you just like it?
Buy our stuff.
It's also another thing you can do. Buy a T-shirt. We also didn't have any T-shirt sales at the top
gosh,
of the
dang it.
episode.
Dang.
Hey, Wes,
Yes?
how can folks get in touch with us? You know.
Don't look at your phone.
I
Don't
won't.
let him look at his phone.
I won't. I'm going to put my phone down.
Okay.
We're going to graveltraveldirt.com
Excellent.
where you can get on there, look at all the cool events and whatnot going on. Brian has done a good job at keeping that up to date. If you want to know where we're riding, that's the place to go. And
Yeah, maybe.
maybe. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
The book face is probably
I don't know.
better for
It's a
that.
pretty website, though. Check it out.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then if you're still using Instagram like a dinosaur, and if you are, I'm sorry to hear, but Facebook Meteor is coming for you. The at Mid-Atlantic GTD is where you can find us. Otherwise, just go to Facebook and type in the search bar Mid-Atlantic Gravel Travel Dirt. like a reasonable person, and give us a phone call, like Marcus did.
Yeah.
410-231-3850.
Be like Marcus.
Be like Marcus.
Don't run your bike off the road. like
Yeah.
Marcus.
Stay out of culverts.
Actually, you have to come to like
Oh,
our
yeah.
secret meetings to figure out when we're riding, like this week.
And I have a new part to my contact us that I'm glad I had to look. They try to trick me. There's an asterisk or a hashtag AskGTD hashtag for questions. Do what you need to do with that. I don't know.
Use the hashtag AskGTD to send us a question. Joey wants to make this happen.
I'm fine with it. I just don't understand it.
He is desperate to make this happen. So, yes.
Slow Ride Podcast does it. Why can't we?
Well, like a lot of podcasts do it.
Yeah, well.
But don't ask Slow Ride a podcast a question. Ask GTD.
Yeah,
I heard they don't
GTD.
know what they're talking about.
Who?
Slow Ride.
I have no idea.
I've never listened to them. They're probably nice
love
they're
it.
people.
probably,
Podcast.
they're probably lovely people. Yeah,
They are.
lovely people.
They're just a bunch of dudes rambling like us.
Right.
Are they?
A little bit more educated on the racing scene.
Hey,
Hold on. How come when Wes has a section to read out, it's pretty normal?
What do you mean?
You throw no Fruit Loops in for him.
no genitalias.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. That's the last time I'm going to do that.
That's because I'm a good reader.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, right. I gotta need to read
That was good. I actually hadn't heard that one before.
I actually
Yeah.
need to start doing it with you because he studies things before he reads them. You would just fly right through it.
No, I do this section enough that I know what I should and shouldn't be reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You can try, but I'll get it.
I'll get you.
Yeah. Why would genitalia be in your section?
Well, it'd be like that hashtag thing.
Yes, I mean.
We got the hashtag genitalia. You definitely want to add that to your Instagram post this week.
Hey, everybody. Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt is recorded in Solomons, Maryland, live in the kitchen. Live in the kitchen.
with Dinah.
That's all. We can't talk
She's
about that.
strumming on her banjo.
So, thanks for riding along. Till next time, do good, be nice, go slow, respect others.
Love you, bye.
6 weeks to Croatan. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.